little bit to another facet of your life. I believe you are a registered Suzuki student, correct?
It is, it is.
Did you study Suzuki at CIM, like Suzuki method?
Okay, so well, just some background, I grew up a Suzuki student. I've got several Suzuki teachers in my family. My mom, I've got two aunts that are Suzuki teacher trainers, and my mom is a Suzuki teacher trainer as well. So it's always been a big part of my life. But I didn't start taking Suzuki courses until the pandemic. Just
Oh,
because all of us had all of this free time that we didn't know what to do with, and I thought that this would be great. I can get registered on, via Zoom, and it was such a nostalgic, beautiful thing to go back and learn how to teach these pieces that are so ingrained in me. Um, so
did you take those courses through the institute in Chicago?
I didn't. I actually took. Okay, let's see. I took Every Child Can with David Strong, who's in the DC area. But then I took unit one and two. I haven't taken all the units yet. That's But I took units one and two with my mom, which was amazing. She taught me growing up for a little bit. So it was absolutely insane to take Suzuki teaching courses with her. And so you had asked you had asked how it ties into orchestra.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask like how your work as a teacher complements your work in the orchestra and vice versa.
Yeah, okay. Um, well, I think one of the most important aspects of your musical practice in the Suzuki method. Are you registered in Suzuki?
So I studied books one through pre twinkle to book.
Oh, nice. Okay, okay. So one of the most important aspects is listening. Just the importance of listening to your repertoire. And I still to this day don't feel like I know a piece unless it's almost memorized, or if it is memorized, even in orchestra. And maybe I don't know if that's a problem or not, but I, with my own private students, I try to instill the importance of listening um, into them, and it can be when you've got soccer practice, homework, all of these things going on, it can be hard to prioritize that. Um, so I spend a lot of time trying to help them like romanticize their listening sessions, whether it's listening to their pieces while they're going on a walk or drawing. I like to, especially with my younger kids, I like to have them draw a picture of what I'm hearing, or even listen with friends who are or aren't playing the same piece as you, um, just to keep it interesting. But I think I'm so fortunate that I was taught how to listen, or the importance of listening. So every week when I'm trying to learn a new program, that's the most important part of my practicing. Is just how I wrap my brain around what I need to practice, how I need to practice. It's just listening to the pieces and yeah, score studying. I think Suzuki teaches you how to score study, even though you don't know what score studying even is at that age. So the listening has certainly helped myself in orchestra. Also, mapping out parts of the bow, paying attention to, okay, the concertmaster is has this much from the tip and they're starting there, or this. Um, yeah, it's funny just visualizing yourself in group class. Like, okay, now we start from frog. Now we start from here. Now, you mapping all these things out that are essential in orchestra. It's helped me so much. My gosh. Yeah.
Well,
Trying to
and I
think.
think just generally speaking, I'm not saying one way is better than the other, but I will say that I've noticed that with our colleagues, the ones that grew up Suzuki students tend to, in general, be better than. And again, that's not to say that the ones that study traditionally aren't, but it's just there's something because you're from the very beginning you're taught to listen to recordings. Just everything is almost by ear at that point. But the other aspect of Suzuki training that I really adore is actually the concept of so every piece that a student plays, like they give a final performance of that book, but then you're taught to go back and review it. And I love that because it instills a sense of growth mindset in kids that are obviously in the younger stages. And I think it's so imperative that we tell ourselves that, nothing is ever a finished product. Okay? We're always trying to grow and enhance.
Yeah, that is a fantastic point to bring up. Yeah, it shows you how far you've come and that you're never above a piece. It's really what you can do with that piece. And yeah, we're never finished learning, even if we think the piece is too easy or, well, I played that when I was 12. I can't possibly play it again. Of course you can. You can just use it as a canvas to show what you know now. Yeah, it is a beautiful practice of reviewing.
Well, and do you have students yourself right now in Cleveland?
Right now, I don't have any in Cleveland. I'd like to. I work with I work with some students online. Um, Actually, before I moved to Cleveland, I was living in New York City, and I had a studio of about 14 people, um, and they were all Suzuki students. So it was really amazing to have an actual studio, and I really want to have my own studio here in Cleveland. But I just moved here, and I'm trying to focus on the job. But that's my goal is to hopefully soon get together. Studio, whether it be teaching through somewhere or just have my own private studio.
And
Definitely, I miss the yeah, I miss having consistency.
yeah. Well, and when you had a studio in New York, did you do group classes with them too?
I did. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay. I'm actually curious because I didn't know that your mom was one of your first teachers and she did Suzuki with you. So, like, how was that dynamic? Because as a younger person, I'm sure it's hard to like in your head to categorize your mom as also your teacher in the way. Like how
Oh
did
yeah.
she go about that with you?
Well, I think I mean she's an amazing teacher. I don't think I was an amazing student at that time. So of course it was easy for me to feel like I'm forced to do this. I'm forced to practice. This is awful. I know I was not easy to work with. Um, and I think my mom recognized that. She sent me off to study with her colleagues so that I could have. Um, oh, I'm so sorry, mom. She gave me so much, and I was just. But I think it was a good learning experience for us both. Of how you I guess can't force someone to do something or can't force someone to learn what they're not willing to learn. Um, but I do have very fond memories of her creating these elaborate scavenger hunts, practice scavenger hunts for me, and just it's pretty amazing to be able to play review pieces with your mom. And my dad I mean, he's a cellist but also a pianist. He could accompany me, and it's just so beautiful to think about that. And then I'm so ashamed that I was ungrateful at my age of 4, 5, 6. But it was, I mean, it's amazing to have musician parents that know exactly what you're going through, exactly what you need. Um, they're so connected in the world, and they just opened so many doors for me that I didn't even know existed until my age now, looking back on it. Um, yeah, and so it's I really like playing with them any chance I get. It's nice to even just read some chamber music with them when I can.
And are they still active in their community as teachers?
Oh yeah, my my mom is teaching all the time. She's got a huge studio, her own private studio, and um, my dad is also teaching all the time. He's a freelance cellist, and he accompanies my mom's studio. He's on piano, so they're very much involved in the community, and um, yeah, they're very big in their community, and it's very exciting.
No, and yeah, I think when you're that young, it's hard to appreciate a lot of things really, and so we don't know until we know kind of thing. And my mom was a pianist, and so she started me on the piano before I started cello. And I for a little bit I tried to juggle both, and I was like, I just want to play piano. And I remember to this day she said like, "You're gonna regret this." And now I'm like, oh yeah, I was going with piano. And so yeah, I mean when we're younger, it's just we just see what's in front of us, and
Right, right. I'm so glad that my parents didn't let me quit because there were so many times where I was like, I don't want to do this. But what they would always say, and when I have a kid, I'm definitely going to use this too. They would say, you can quit, you can definitely quit, but you have to call your grandparents and tell them you're quitting. So I would be like, all right, I'll keep playing. I'm I'm not going to disappoint my grandparents like that. I'll keep playing for sure. And then there was definitely a turning point when I grew up in a pretty small town and felt a little bit isolated in my violin practice. But once I started venturing out and going to Chicago, playing with um, more youth orchestras, meeting friends at festivals, I started to feel like it was my own thing, and then I started to love it, and then I was like, okay, I'm never quitting for sure. Um, it was a pretty rocky road through childhood to get to that point. I'm sure many other people feel that way.
well, and what age do you think things kind of click when you ventured out and loved it more?
I I would say eighth grade. Um, I started to tolerate violin maybe fourth grade to eighth grade, and then in eighth grade I was like, oh, like it seems like the more that I work, the better I sound, and the better I sound, the more fun I'm having. So I think there's a pattern here.
Yeah, and I'm very encouraged and hopeful that you will start your Suzuki studio in Cleveland soon because I think um, you'll be able to serve as a great model and both as a performer. You'll be able to invite your students to these wonderful Cleveland orchestra concerts, and it'll be like, hey, you can do this kind of thing. Especially because I think uh, sometimes people look at Suzuki teachers or teachers in general and just kind of assume they're doing it because they couldn't make it as a performer, which is like completely misguided and completely fallacy, I think. But to really embody both, I think, is very important to the community at large. So,
Totally. Yeah, agreed.
yeah, and especially because I don't think the CP program is around at SCIM unfortunately anymore. So hopefully you can be that beacon of, you know, light. to that area.
Yeah, I don't know all the logistics about the situation, but I the more Suzuki the better, I
Yeah.
feel. So yeah, I hope to get definitely my own studio going, both Suzuki and non-Suzuki. I love working with people who are uh past working on excerpts or charity. So that's a project that I'll be working on.
The more music, the better.
Yeah, 100%.